Hello everyone, welcome back for day 3 in our lesson on abundant faith. We left off yesterday having just talked about Jesus being asleep in the boat and the storm raging and the disciples' boat kind of being filled with water and then finally panicking, going to wake Jesus up. He stands up, rebukes the wind and the waves and the storm, and everything is suddenly calm. And then we read Matthew 8:27, where the disciples were asking, "What manner of man is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" And you could see this question in their mind, like, wow, like what just happened? So as we look at this account in Scripture, this account of the whole storm in this section of Matthew, and it's actually in a couple of the other Gospels as well. But as we look in this, there are some things that we can glean from this for our own lives and for our own maybe modern day storms that we may be facing. So the first thing that we should know, and that we probably do know at this point, is if you are a disciple of Jesus, then you know that that would potentially include following him into a storm. We just have to accept that that is part of being a disciple of Jesus, is we may follow him into some storms. That's where he is going to test our faith. That's where he is going to help us grow. Jesus knew the storm would come. He knew the disciples would panic. He knew the disciples would think that he didn't care. He also knew that he was going to shut the storm down and everything was going to mellow back out. But Jesus still chose to go through that storm. He still chose for that storm to come along, because storms are opportunities for miracles to happen. So we know that if we're a disciple of Jesus, that could potentially include following him into a storm. But secondly, our faith is not tested or grown on days that are still and beautiful and sunny. Our faith is grown in storms. Faith is tested when life is out of control. That's when our faith really comes into play. When the waves and the winds of adversity are howling in our ears, the waves of trouble are crashing onto our boats, whatever we may be feeling, that turmoil inside of our lives, where is God when we need him? Is he sleeping? Is he not there? Is he detached and unconcerned about our storm? Does he not think our storm is as big of a deal as we think it is? But maybe we're just stuck. Where are we? But again, we have accepted the fact that if we're his disciple, that means we're going to follow him into some storms. We've accepted the fact that this is where faith is grown, and we have demonstrated by obedience, by following him into this situation, and now he seems aloof and perhaps asleep. We've said, I don't get it, God. I followed you into this, and you seem like you're not there. Hebrews 11:1 says, faith is the evidence of things not seen. Faith trusts that God is in control, even in the storm. Faith trusts that God is in control no matter what is going on in life, no matter how crazy or chaotic it may seem. Faith trusts that God is still in control. And then finally, one of the things we can learn from this story today is that Jesus expects more from those who know him. The disciples, we talked about, I think on day 1, that the disciples had been following him around. They had been around Jesus as he had performed miracles. They'd been around Jesus for all of these things. They'd seen some of the just crazy miracles that Jesus had done, and yet they still panicked. Yet they still panicked and didn't know Jesus enough to know that he was in the boat with them. It wasn't going down. Like nothing was going to happen at this point. Jesus was with them. And Jesus let them know that they failed the test of faith in this point. He stood up, we talked about, it was the first thing he said was, why are you so afraid? Why do you have so little faith? What's wrong with you guys? Why are you afraid? Why do you not believe me? In the meantime, these physically tough men were drenched and bruised from being banged around the boat by the wind and the waves. Still, Jesus showed no sympathy, it seems, in the Scripture. There was something bigger at stake here. The question you must consider is, can you trust God in a storm? What he was testing them on is, can you trust me even when it doesn't look good? And they initially failed that test. Jesus knew that in the future his disciples would face trials and storms of persecution, and he wouldn't be there in the flesh, so they needed to learn how to trust him in this storm. So as you go through the rest of your day, or as you wind down your day, depending on when you watch this video, you need to remember and pray that God will help you remember to trust Him no matter what's going on. I'm not here to say that your situation is any more or any less than it is to you. But what I can tell you is that if we put our faith in God, if we put our trust in God, He will help us get through it. He will be there for us. He will make it all come out for our good. God bless you, and we'll see you again tomorrow.